Rachel, and today I'm bringing you my top 10 favorite books set in a school. So it's back to school time. I officially start back tomorrow as I'm filming this, so school time is upon us, y'all. And this year is going to be intense to say the least. But in honor of going back to school, I thought I would share my top 10 favorite books set in or around a school. So some of them clearly have a lot more school involved in them than others, but let's do it anyway. So this is in no particular order. I just picked a bunch out and we're going to chat about them. So no particular order. First up is Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. This is literally set in a school. And while all the other books that I've read in the series so far relate to this world and they're all like connected, this is probably the one I think that is the most set in the school. And the other ones, at least sometimes they leave or it's not really set there. It's just involving the characters. This one is fully set in the school. And the reason these kids are at this particular school is because they all have something in common. That when they've been out and about in their regular world, they have come across a door or a portal to another world that most of the ones at this school have felt was really their true home. This is where they belonged. And for one reason or another, they have been ejected from this world where they felt at home and are now kind of lost back in the real world. And they've all kind of accumulated here at this school to try to learn how to acclimate back to normal life here outside of their world. And there is just so much going on in this book. It is fantastic. It's fast paced. There is just everything. Like I said, there's portal fantasies. There is just so much imagination. There is a school setting and there is a murder mystery going on. There's so much packed into this and it's only like 200 pages. I think it's actually less. So highly recommend Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna McGuire. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite series. Next up is another one of my absolute favorite series, and that is Nimber in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. And the reason this one applies so well is because we are following two characters, one of which whose brother has been abducted by kind of the oppressive ruling group, and she decides she's going to go undercover to save him. But where she goes undercover leads us to why this is on the list. She's going undercover into a school for assassins. What? Yes, it's happening. And one of those assassins is our secondary character that we also get a POV from in this book. And oh my gosh, love this book. I know I've read this at least 2 or 3 times. I'm going to be reading it again soon, so I'm ready for the 4th and final book in the series. But yes, how could you have a school list without mentioning this book? Fantastic. Chef's kiss. Love it. Next up is a little bit lighter than the last one. This is Schooled by Gordon Corman. This is a middle grade book set in a middle school. And essentially what we have here is we have a student. He goes by the name Cap. And he is essentially pulled straight off of a hippie commune that he lived in with his grandma, I believe it was. I haven't read it in a long time, so some of the details are a little fuzzy. But he's been pulled off of this hippie commune where he was homeschooled and sent to a regular school. Something happened with his grandma. I can't remember if she got sick or something, but she was unable to literally care for him at the moment, so they kind of took him into an adoptive home for the time being and sent him to regular school. So it is just a culture shock for him, and it's amazing. It's just such a really heartwarming story. Fantastic. I loved it. I absolutely love this book, and every time I read it, I think of that Cat Stevens song of Wild World. And I just love this book. We read it for our middle grade book club like back in the day, and I still own my copy because it was such a cute book. And next up is one I think pretty much everybody will immediately think of. It's kind of obligatory, I feel like, for school books, so we'll just go ahead and mention it, and that is the Harry Potter series. Who would not like to go to a magic school? I think if our schools could be a little bit more magic, it would be a lot more fun. But anyway, Harry Potter definitely would be a good school pick. I would also like to recommend Of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon. This one is set at an elite boarding school, mostly for like sons and daughters of rich people, diplomats, important, wealthy people. And this is actually a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and this is going to be a series set in this academy, and all of them are going to be kind of fairy tale retellings. And I really enjoy this one. I like all of Sandhya Menon's books. Highly recommend them. But this one takes place at the boarding school, so I thought this would be the best pick. we have our dark, brooding beast character, and we also have our beauty character, and she is on a mission to get revenge. She believes that this boy has wronged her family and, taken their honor. So she is going to try to make him fall in love with her and then break his heart. And of course, you can imagine things don't quite work out that way. And I really enjoyed the story. I'm really looking forward to see what other books will take place at this academy. Next up is One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus. And while this doesn't exclusively take place inside the school, it very much surrounds these group of kids at school. And essentially what you need to know is that a group of students head into detention, all for various reasons. Some of them aren't really sure why. And then one of the students dies while in detention. So now they are all suspects. And this was so fantastic. I wasn't really expecting much because I typically don't tend to enjoy teen YA murder mysteries very often, but this one kept me reading. I really, really enjoyed it. We read it for our high school book club, and it was fantastic. And I can't wait to get into the sequel for this one. Absolutely love it. And side note, Karen McManus, the author, was kind enough to send me 3 books, brand new books to add to our school library this year. So a special thanks to Karen for being just awesome. Next up is one of my favorite series, and it absolutely takes place in a school, and that is the Lunch Lady series by Jared K. Krasaska, and these are absolutely fantastic. Essentially, we have these 3 students who are called the Lunch Bunch who kind of discover that their lunch lady and her lunch lady sidekick are actually superheroes that pretty much save the school in every episode of this series. And it's, oh my gosh, it's fantastic. It's hilarious. All of their gadgets are food related, and it is the best thing in the world. I love this series. Next up is one that I am highly anticipating the sequel of this year, and that is In the Hall with the Knife. This is the first book in the Clue Mystery Trilogy, and this is by Diana Peterfreund, and this is essentially what you think it would be. It's kind of like a YA clue board if it took place in like an Agatha Christie novel. Essentially, they're all attending an elusive boarding school off the coast of Maine, and they get sequestered on the island due to a storm, and they're all kind of huddled together in one building, and then Professor Body gets killed. And I absolutely love this book. It is so much fun to read. There's so many allusions to the game. I thought this was fantastic. And again, that kind of like elusive school setting makes it a lot of fun. Next up is Speak. This is by Lori Halse Anderson. Definitely probably the darkest book on this list, but it is so fantastic. And it, again, does not completely revolve around the school, but definitely has a lot of connections to it. And I recommend this all the time at school. This is just such a powerful read. Essentially, we're following a teenage girl's perspective as she comes to terms with being sexually assaulted by another student from the high school, and the ramifications of that throughout her entire day as a person and as a student. And oh my gosh, can't say enough good things about it. Absolutely fantastic, but again, definitely more of a darker read as opposed to some of these other lighthearted ones. And then last but not least, I'm going to recommend Dred Nation by Justina Ireland. This takes place during the Civil War. This is a reimagining / alternative history of the Civil War, where the dead Civil War soldiers start rising back up as zombies. And they have sent several people to be trained in these schools to combat these zombies. Most of them are black, and we're particularly in this book following a black girl who's been sent to this boarding school, again, to learn how to fight zombies and also to learn how to fit into society so they can kind of protect the rich white women in society, both from the undead and from really the men. So it's just a very interesting story. And again, it's definitely set at a school, although not the whole story revolves around that school, but it's such a fantastic read. I highly recommend it. So there you have my top 10 favorite books set in or around a school. Definitely let me know down below if you have any favorites set in or around a school, and if you are going back to school soon, best of luck. Definitely wear your mask and wash your hands and stay safe. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in another video soon. Bye for now.